Good morning, everybody. It's Mrs. Dudley here, and today we're doing an interview with Pete Witte. And I have just met him this morning, which is really exciting. I've heard about him a lot from our buddy Dale Mallory, who's joining us by phone. And some of you guys might recognize TJ, our most recent YouTube superstar. So today is just an opportunity for us to talk to some people that are also passionate about community and families and agriculture in the city. It is Earth Day, so we'll also kind of share what we're all doing on Earth Day during the pandemic. But first, we'll just kind of go around the circle and introduce ourselves. So you guys already know me, Mary Dudley, agriculture education at Gamble Montessori. I'll pass it off to Dale, and then we'll do Pete, and then TJ will wrap us up.
Dale Mallory, graduate of Taft, and attended the Natural Resource Management program at the zoo, first African American to graduate from it. After that, 25 years General Electric aircraft engine. After that, 8 years as state representative in Ohio State House, and also former chair of the Environment Brownfield Development Committee in the State House. And a resident of the West End and an avid gardener. TJ, I watched your video, and when you called Ms. Dudley, that was your Rosemary Dudley, I was in tears.
All right, so thanks, Mary, for having me on. This is exciting. I love the opportunity to talk to people about my background and the community I love and the city I love. My name is Pete Witte, and don't mind my phone ringing in the background. I'm actually at my business, and we'll let that ring, so sorry if that's a distraction. But anyway, my name's Pete Witte. I'm the owner of Baron Engraving in Price Hill. I'm actually a lifelong resident of Price Hill. I have never lived a day of my life out of Price Hill, which is an odd distinction. I don't know if I should be totally proud of it or not, but it is the way it is. And so I have a long background. Actually, my kids are both third-generation graduates of both their grade schools, St. William here in Price Hill, and respectively Elder and Seton High Schools in Price Hill. So that kind of gives you an idea. And what's funny is 3 out of their 4 grandparents actually attended St. William in Price Hill. So both sides of my family right now have strong, long-time West Side roots, and we're very proud of it. I became very active in my community when I actually moved our business out of my parents' home. My dad started our business in the basement of my parents' home way back in 1987, and we steadily grew the business. And my dad, and at that point it was best to move out of my parents' basement and put it actually into a real store, and that's what we did. And we moved our business onto West 8th Street in Price Hill, and it was at that point I really started to realize how much involved in my neighborhood I was, because not only did I live there now, but I had made the biggest investment of my entire life, and it was important to me to now start to understand what was going on in my community. And I'd always had a political interest in my life, even as a small kid. I don't know why, but the civic side started to become very interesting to me. And I got involved in our community council, which at the time was called the Price Hill Civic Club. And I immediately loved knowing what was going on in my neighborhood. I was excited when I heard the good things. I was scared and I feared for the worst when I heard bad things, but I wanted to then change the bad things. And so I became very active in my community council, and ultimately ended up being the president of this group actually for 10 years in a row, which I'm very proud of that accomplishment, as the group is over 100 years old. It was started in 1915, and I'm the longest tenured president ever of the Price Hill Civic Club. So it's one of my more proud things to say, I will tell you. So anyway, along the way, my wife and I have 2 kids. We raise our own families. I have, through my civic involvement, been given opportunities to serve on the city's planning commission. So that is the group that looks at zoning and how land use is done in the city of Cincinnati. I've had an opportunity to serve on the board of the Cincinnati Metropolitan Housing Authority, and Cincinnati is critical to the lives of many families in Hamilton County, as it helps provide housing for young and old throughout Hamilton County, and it affects many families' lives. So I did that for quite a long stretch, and I've also served on the Community Development Advisory Board for the city. They advise on how grants that come from the federal government are issued into our communities and into our neighborhoods. And currently, I serve as a member of the Convention Facilities Authority, which is actually the entity that owns the Duke Convention Center, as well as the Sharonville Convention Center. And we recently made a large purchase of a large hotel in downtown Cincinnati called the Millennium. And this has been a critical time for that group. So anyway, that's my quick rundown of kind of my background, and hopefully that helps out. And I'd encourage all you young people to make sure you pay attention to what your elected officials are doing at all levels, but especially at the level where you live. I think that's the thing about Cincinnati and Cincinnati City Council. It's really your day-to-day life. I mean, it's one thing to hear about stuff that's happening out of Washington, D.C. at a big level, but every day you walk out your door of your home, you are in a place, and that place is directly impacted by those that are leading it in our city hall. And I stay active in politics, and we'll see what the future holds. There's a lot to do, absolutely.
Awesome. All right, TJ, so you can go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then you can ask Mr. Witte a question.
Okay, my name is Anthony Allen, 18 years old, senior, currently at Montessori. About to graduate. I'm not sure how it's gonna be done this year. Hey, as long as I get my diploma, I'm not gonna be tripping. I like sports. I used to play football and baseball, and then next year I'm planning on going into a trade school, HVAC, and I'm trying to get into local 392 currently. Just waiting to hear back from them and see how that'll go, and then trying to get more involved in the agriculture around my community, to learn more about it. So yeah, that's about me.
Awesome.
And Mr. Witte, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So my question for you is, why you care about the development of an urban agriculture movement in Cincinnati?
Oh, I think there's multiple benefits, and especially in certain neighborhoods, there's even more benefits. First and foremost, I do think that we need to lessen our carbon footprint. I think it's a great mindset that if we could develop a thought process where we want to source our food as close to home as we possibly can, I think is a thing that we need to develop and keep developing, so that in years from now, we have really created an environment where that's the expectation of residents, that they're able to buy and eat food that is actually grown very close to their house. The second thing that I think is a major benefit is health. I think that if we develop a mindset of eating stuff grown from the earth, it sure beats that bag of Doritos. It sure beats the processed food products that fill our grocery store shelves. My third benefit that I believe from urban agriculture is actually infusing a new kind of energy into neighborhoods. I think that neighborhoods that will adapt to having plots of land dedicated to urban agriculture really will set themselves up for, again, a future mindset that really thinks that is the most sustainable and best practice for a country. So I think it creates an energy that could be unique in neighborhoods that have more plots of land readily available to start adapting to this type of use. And then the last thing, I think for places like Price Hill and other big neighborhoods especially, we have so many households, we have so many structures already built, that what we really need to do is take some open land and preserve it to remain open land. Parks, we have parks. We have recreational centers. But what we now need to do is add another element to this preservation of land and use it towards urban agriculture.
Yeah, sounds nice. I like it.
Agriculture is one of the biggest issues in politics right now. You even mentioned working for a union.
Yes, sir.
And you had to excuse all the vehicles around me. I'm in the West End, and I'm out here on my property, but that's where the noise is coming from. But this whole agriculture issue has boomed, and the black community is woefully behind. I live in the West End, been here all my life, and we have patches. We have patches of soil to work with. So in between all the brick and concrete, we need to focus on our green spaces. We need to maintain our green spaces. You know, I was a community council president, West End Community Council, and a lot of your crime spots, I learned from the Guardian Angels. They came to town, they walked me around, and they showed me which kind of spots breed crime. When you see overgrown areas in the community where people hide and do things, those can be eliminated. Those can be beautified. And if you imagine every patch of green space in our community beautified, as much as we could, it would become a beautiful place without us even having to do a lot. Because just like you planted that stuff and you know how to grow things, you know, I'm a gardener and I have flowers and fruits, vegetables. So TJ, you know, you probably in the future, I want you guys. And when I met Mary and saw her class, that class is rare. Hey, that class of kids, that mixture, that diversity, is the best thing that I've ever seen. So you guys are the future leaders, and I'm kind of relying on you guys to help everybody else if it's possible.
Okay. I got you.
Okay.
All right, so I have a question too, and my question is more pointed towards recommendations on what students can be doing now. So we are sheltering in place, and I know that we've got folks at home like TJ who have beautiful yards and are really working hard to maintain a good family community, and are also experimenting a lot in the kitchen. So, trying new recipes and really being adventurous. So, what are just a couple of tips? We'll start with Pete and Dale, and then TJ, I'd love for you to also contribute because I think that you as a senior are a wonderful role model for a lot of other students. And so what can people be doing right now?
First and foremost, if they haven't already, and not knowing all that you've gone over in your class, it's easy to create raised garden beds in your backyard. And if that's at all possibility for someone in their setting, if that's something they could be working to establish, if they've not already established it, I think that's great. My family did it a few years ago, and every year the spring ends up being a time where we re-clean up what we've started and get things going. And it gives us that hope to look forward to our work come summer and fall and what we're able to produce. The other thing that we've done recently, and this is really my daughter has created this, we try to set out a menu looking ahead at home and have decided that vegetarian meals need to be very much mixed into our diets. And so we will purposely seek out recipes and make a meal that is totally vegetarian based, just to mix it up and kind of fun. And there's a couple people can be part of the effort and chopping up the vegetables and putting the recipe together. And so that's something that I think is in this where we're at right now with the stay at home. It's easy to do, and I think it's actually it's been great for myself. I've never really gone vegetarian until my daughter kind of put me over the top here recently. And we just purposely now will make some supper on nights will be exclusively vegetarian.
Cool. Neat.
Well, Pete, you're going to be ready for that swimsuit.
Don't even start.
All right, Dale, what do you suggest? What are a couple of things that our young people should be doing?
Okay, for one, TJ's video. I love the fact that the family, and that was your mother interviewing you, TJ?
Yes, sir.
Hey, that was beautiful. That was the pure definition of what I've been talking about, because people are trapped in the house, and this stuff is not going to change May 1st. So, it's time for everybody to kind of, for one, communicate with each other like you guys are doing, but for two, for the families, that's what this whole gardening in place thing is. You're trapped in the house. Let's get out there, get some fresh air. You're starting your stuff on the inside. We will continue into the planting season when we get outside. But this whole initiative that we are moving forward is so big that you guys need to set the example. The young people need to, and you guys are smart. From what I've seen, you just don't understand how the rest of the world and the rest of, these people have not caught up with you guys. Cincinnati is known for first, and we are famous. In Ohio, there are three big cities, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and the capital, Columbus. We invent things. You guys are like an invention and a secret weapon. And all you have to do is come together now and make history in this pandemic. That means you shape what we do. That video you did is a beautiful example. Everybody should follow that example. And I love the fact that your mother interviewed that. If they have a family member that can do the same like that, I mean, it moved me. And and you were so alive with the stuff. You made it fun. And I laughed all the way through your video. I said, dang, that is cool. So, that's real life. And this is black community, TJ. I live in the West End. Everybody's not into this, and they need to be. And that whole food thing, lining up at Kroger, you should be going to your backyard for tomatoes and collard greens and everything else that you can grow. Okay?
I think it's pretty easy just to try and cook something, it's pretty easy to plant some things. But, I mean, we all, like, kids my age, we all just like to eat all the time. So I feel like we have all this time at home. We might as well be trying to cook, learn a new recipe or something. Because myself personally, I tried to cook some salmon, and I cooked some chicken breast. The salmon didn't go too well. I messed up on that, But the chicken went pretty well. I liked it. It was nice and juicy. I followed the recipe and instructions off of YouTube. I just, went ahead and did it one night, and it was pretty good. So I think I'm gonna keep doing it. Try and learn something new. But I think it's pretty easy just cook, find something to cook. Get something healthier instead of just going to the grocery store and getting noodles and things and unhealthy meals. When you try and cook something at home, it's better for your body and the community.
That's great. Thank you. Yes, I agree. And once we start to really get into the ingredients that we're using, then we want to get fresher.
So yeah, my plans for Earth Day today is nothing major, just something simple. We're just gonna go get a shed, so then we can put the lawnmower inside it. It's gonna be one of the ones that we have to build up in the backyard. So we have to find a nice little place to put it in the backyard and just put that up. Take care of my plants and finish a little bit of the yard work. But that's all I got.
I have my kite right now, and it's a little breezy out here, and I've been flying a kite. And I'm just going to enjoy my yard. Hey, we have a vacant lot on the corner of Bank and Bay Miller. I'm just going to kind of reconnect and enjoy the earth.
Nice.
Sounds great.
I am going to actually, since it ended up being a nice day, which is wonderful, there is a place called the Buckeye Trace Nature Preserve, which is part of the Western Wildlife Corridor project, which has a series of trails in different parts along the western riverfront, basically. And so I'm actually going to go there and do a hike along this trail, which I've never been to. But since it's Earth Day and it's a beautiful day out, I'm going to go try something different.
I'm going to do a little gardening today, too. I got some raspberry bushes in for the school. So I'm going to head over to school and put those in. And I really wanted to thank all of you guys for joining the call today. I really appreciate it.
It was great. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.